Hello and welcome to another episode of the Good Hearted Podcast. Honestly, I feel like all I need to say today is take the damn vacation. Do you need any other excuse to go? Well, if so, be sure to stick around because I am going to tell you why you need to go on the vacation. Right now, I'm recording this episode a little bit early because Dylan, Harper, and I are in Disney World right now. Dylan and I are both fully vaccinated, and so we decided to go down to Florida to visit with his grandparents who have not met Harper yet. And then towards the end of that trip, go to Disney as our first little family vacation. If you want to see anything from our trip, be sure to go to my Instagram at morgananderson.co. There I will be sharing some glimpses of our trip this week. But I'm actually very excited for this trip because I don't plan on being extremely active on social media. Normally, when I've gone on vacation in the past, especially Disney, I've done like minute by minute stories, taking you all throughout the park, everything I've done. And so I think my approach this time is going to be to take pictures and videos throughout the day. And then potentially at the end of the day or the next day, I might post a 15, maybe 30-second reel of kind of the recap of our day. Not saying I won't get on stories at all, but I'm really loving capturing things as they happen and then sharing them later so that I'm not taken out of the moment. So I'm thinking while I'm down there, we're going to have downtime. We're going to be in the hotel room some. So then I can kind of get on social media and show what we've been up to. But I'm really excited to just be in the park with Harper and to watch her see the castle for the first time and to see Mickey and Minnie. And I'm just so excited to get back down there because it is definitely my happy place. And it has been a couple years since Dylan and I went. I did go while I was pregnant with Harper, and Dylan and I went before I got pregnant with her, but I think that was in 2018. So it's been a bit since we've been together. And we were planning on taking her a little bit closer to her birthday, but just with some family plans and stuff like that, we decided to go ahead and go in June, even though it's going to be hot as hell, but I will have all kinds of gadgets to try to keep us cool during that time. And we're basically just making this vacation work for us. And this does kind of wrap into today's topic because I know in the past I have decided not to take a vacation because it seemed too much. I was either going to go and feel like I had to rush all over the place and I didn't want to, or I felt like I didn't know the destination well enough to get a good plan together. Thankfully, I've been to Disney several times. I am very grateful for that. And that's why I'm so confident to take Harper, even though she's only 18 months old. But I know it pretty much like the back of my hand. Dylan's been twice now with me, so he has a pretty good idea of the layout, and we mapped everything out ahead of time. I'm not saying we won't have road bumps and issues and have a long drive that might be really excruciating and hard, but I know we will make the best of it. So I want to encourage you, even if it can just be a weekend getaway, one day, someplace that is right near where you live, more of like a staycation. Take some kind of vacation this year if you can. If not, start planning one for next year because I promise you deserve a break. I don't know what you do all day, every day, but I know you are tired. I know after 2020 and then 2021, where we're kind of like being reintroduced to the world almost, it's very weird. It's been a very weird last year and a half. And we all need a break. We all need to take the vacation. Traveling has always been a priority for me. When I was a kid, we didn't travel like all over the place, but we did always make it a point to do some kind of family vacation. It wasn't necessarily every year, but we went to the beach, we went to Disney World, we went to different places with different family members. We went and visited family friends out of state. And so it was pretty common for me to go on long road trips or even airplanes by myself as a teenager. And I loved it. I think it made me love my hometown more because I got out enough that I didn't mind coming back and having kind of the slower life that we have here. Any chance I got to go somewhere with school, I went. I just loved soaking in different cultures, and I still do. And I never feel like a vacation is a bad investment because I get to meet new people. I get to see things that I would never see if I always stayed in Ohio. I get to try new foods, even though I'm picky. So like I won't try that much food, but I'll probably try way more alcoholic drinks that they make at different places. I get to make new memories. And yes, it costs me to make those memories and go on that trip, but I'd much rather have that than some new toy or gadget to have at home that I'm probably going to forget about in 6 months anyway. So, of course, I carried this passion into my relationship with Dylan, even though he hadn't traveled near as much as I had at the time. But once we got married, even in that first year, we drove up to Chicago one weekend and down to Nashville another one. And we may have even had an extra trip in that year besides our honeymoon. And we just went all over the place, anywhere we could go. We went up to Cleveland. We went to different places in Kentucky. We went to Charleston. We went to Myrtle Beach. We went to Destin. Like, we have been all over the Midwest and East Coast. I'm still trying to get him out west because I think the furthest west he's gone is Texas, and I am dying to take him to California. I would love to take him there one day. But we love all of those trips. Sometimes we love the road trip portion of it even more than the actual trip. That is always when we have like our deep, meaningful conversations after we've listened to like our old punk playlist for, probably 3 hours. And then we're finally tired of listening to music. And so we figure out all of our life's problems or our next steps, things like that. And I just love that time to get away and connect. And I always feel so much better when I get home just because I was forced to rest. Even if I had to work in some capacity on vacation, it's always so much better to be doing it from a hotel room or from a pool deck or something like that. That's not like right now, your dark office where I had to put all of these lights up so you could actually see me today because it is gloomy and rainy and all of that. Oh, and I just said so you could see me. So I guess if you're listening to the podcast and you don't know, I do have a YouTube channel where you can actually watch this. So if you're more into watching podcasts than listening to them, definitely check that out. So you can find me. My channel is just called Morgan Anderson over on YouTube. I will link it in the episode description. But anyway, my hometown gets tiring. I am here constantly. So I need that shock and to just get out every once in a while. And then when I come back, I'm excited to be home. I want to get in my bed. I want to touch all of my things. I want to get back to work. I want to reorganize things. I want to declutter. I just always feel recharged after a trip like that. And I know not everyone who listens is a parent, but I have heard from lots of parents that they don't want to go on vacation because either it's harder to go with a child or they don't want to leave their child. Both of those things are totally valid and accurate. But thankfully, growing up, I saw my parents take weekend getaways and even week-long trips without our asses all the time. Like, I was jealous at the time that they weren't taking me on these trips. But now that I'm an adult and a parent, I'm like, oh, y'all were getting away so that like you didn't lose your mind and like you needed a break from us. You needed your own space, alone time, all of that. And I'm so glad that they modeled that for me and that they did that for themselves because I think it really can affect your parenting and just how you are as a person if you're never getting a break. And so I've never taken a big trip as a mom with Harper. We do go down to Kentucky to see my dad pretty regularly, and that's a 3-hour drive. She does very well on those drives these days. When she was smaller, not so much. But now we normally don't have to stop, and she stays pretty entertained most of the time. So I am hoping that our road trip down to Florida is not too terrible, but I have very low expectations. I am coming prepared though, and I will also be sharing on Instagram all of the things that I'm taking to hopefully have a successful road trip and like what's going to be in my stroller while we're at Disney, all of those things. So again, find me on Instagram at morgananderson.co if you want to see those videos. But I've bought her new toys. We have a tablet mounted in the car for her to watch. We have tons of snacks, tons of books, and like activities that she can do in the car. So I'm really trying to make it as good of an experience as possible. And we will likely stop on our way down. So again, we're just trying to make the most of this trip and make it enjoyable with a toddler. Is it harder than Dylan and I going by ourselves? Hell yeah. I have been packing for 2 weeks now leading up for this trip at least and been buying stuff for the past several months, trying to just get a little thing here and there so I didn't have to spend like a whole bunch of money before our trip just to have the supplies we would need. But I'm also packing in a more minimal way because that's what I'm comfortable with because I don't like traveling with a ton of shit. So it's just finding that balance that's right for you and for your family. And like I mentioned a couple episodes ago, Dylan and I also have already taken a trip, just the two of us. We actually went with two friends of ours down to Nashville, and it was so good for us to have that alone time in the car to just like go have fun and let loose and like not have any responsibilities. And we missed her so much while we were gone. And so I'm very, very glad that we took that trip and that we're taking this trip with her. And so I really don't think it matters how old your kids are, what all you have going on. If you can afford to take some kind of vacation, please take it, big or small. And especially if your kids are little, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you thought, why in the world is she taking her 18-month-old to Disney? She's not going to remember anything. That's true. She's probably not going to remember anything, but I will. And I will have pictures and I will have videos and I will have those moments with her. Oh, I'm like getting emotional just thinking about it. I will be able to be there to see her face when she does all of these things. And I know she's going to be running around like crazy and she's probably going to squeak and scream and get excited and run around. But I am so excited for that. It's almost like I get to have my childhood again through her. I have more fun sometimes than she does when we do certain things. Even certain toys, I'm way more excited about than she is. It's so fascinating to me how I feel like a kid again, but now I'm a parent. So I am excited to have a trip where I get to see it through her eyes and be right there with her to experience it. And I'm excited for the future trips that we'll take together. I know we will go to tons of other locations and destinations and have the time of our lives. Or at least I hope that we get to keep doing that because a lot of times before the pandemic, instead of big anniversary gifts or birthday gifts or even Christmas gifts sometimes, Dylan and I would gift each other like a trip essentially and say, okay, like we're not going to do gifts for our anniversary, but let's go away for the weekend and let's make it a long weekend. And normally that was right around Dylan's birthday. Sometimes for Christmas, we'll buy like tickets to some event and that's kind of our Christmas gift. So we love having the experiences instead of all the stuff. I still love stuff. I still love buying shoes. We all have our weaknesses, okay? But our family unit values experiences, vacations, and things like that. So if that is something that's important to you too, I really think that you can make some tweaks to start having these experiences and save up the money to have a good time while you're there. We in the past have asked for gift cards towards certain things if we have a trip coming up or some kind of supply that we wanted to take on that trip, just anything to kind of gear it towards our travel and our experience versus just some kind of random thing. I think people want to give you gifts that you will actually use. So if they ask you for ideas, give them some. Ask for cash to go on a trip. Or, Dylan asked for cash to get new tattoos. So whatever blows your dress up. But if you want to make travel a priority, find some ways to make it happen. At the very least, take your sick days, especially when you're sick, but take that PTO. You've earned it. You deserve to use it and do something to rest and recharge. I like to think of those kinds of days as like mini vacations. So even a couple days ago, it was very hot here. I had a million things I could have been doing. I definitely could have been working, but I chose instead to sit outside in my bathing suit with my book to get some sun and read and rest. I had done about an hour of work before that. Harper was still sleeping for her nap. So I just went outside and I sat in the sun and I read my book and it was amazing. It was so good. And then she and I got in our little inflatable pool afterwards and we played in that for the afternoon. And it almost felt like a vacation. Like obviously it was a cheap inflatable pool and there was like no drinks, nothing fancy, but we enjoyed the outside. We enjoyed time together. And it felt like a little getaway without even leaving my patio. So try to do little things like that to make yourself really take that break because you need it. You need some kind of vacation. You need some kind of rest. And if you have some kind of big dream trip that you don't know if you'll ever do, write it out. Like kind of plan out what you need to do, how much money you need to save, what you need to coordinate, and set that goal and just do little things every week to work towards that, whether it's putting $10 a week back or $10 a month, just something so that you're like, okay, I'm working my ass off now, but I'm doing it for this thing. And I promise you, you will remember things from that trip for so long. It will absolutely be worth all of the money, all of the time that you put into it. So please, I am begging you, if you can, take the vacation, take the PTO, take your sick days, and enjoy all of that money that you've worked so hard to make, all of that time that you've worked so hard to accumulate. So just try to use that time for something that you will really enjoy. Kind of like me when I used to spend my birthday money on like practical things. Like honestly, that's what I normally do around the house. Like if I get a Target gift card, I'm going to buy new curtains or something. Like that is so lame. It's something I want though, but I am not as good as Dylan. Like when Dylan gets birthday money, he spends it on what Dylan wants. I think, what do I need around the house? So again, we all have our things. I'm working on that. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Again, if you want to see what we're up to this week in Florida, be sure to go to @morgananderson.co and I will be sharing some stuff there on Instagram. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video today. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss my future episodes. And I will see you in my next video.